For more on potential implications, I'm joined now by Jamal Abdi, Vice President for Policy at the National Iranian American Council here in Washington. Jamal, welcome to the program. So Netanyahu's rather theatrical presentation, did he have evidence to back any of his claims up?
Well, he had evidence to back his claims that Iran, prior to the nuclear deal and prior really to 2009, engaged in work that may have been linked to a nuclear weapons program.
Is that new?
This was already known. This was a major reason that the UN Security Council powers negotiated an Iran deal. That is the entire reason that we did that.
So what do you make of the timing of all this? And who was Netanyahu's message, which, by the way, the first part of what he had to say was all in English. Who was that message exactly directed to?
He should have done the presentation on Fox and Friends to ensure that President Trump actually saw it, because that was the intended audience. I think what we see is, Trump decides on what he's going to do, and then the people around him reverse engineer a logic to apply to that policy decision. So in this instance, it appears Trump is headed to a May 12th decision to exit the Iran deal. And now Netanyahu is trying to provide a rationale, something new to link it to say, okay, this is the right decision. This is not just an ideological move divorced from any real policy realities.
And one of the arguments that the Trump administration on Israel they're making is that this nuclear agreement does not address Iran's ballistic activities. It does not address Iran's meddling and being a troublemaker in the region. Does this administration have a point? Should there be a perhaps supplemental deal, which is something Macron alluded to, the French president, when he was in Washington, that maybe some kind of a side agreement can be worked out? How likely is that going to happen?
The nuclear deal was supposed to be the beginning of a new way to handle our problems with Iran, to actually open up the diplomatic channel, because the sanctions and pressure approach was only leading to an end that was military confrontation. If you want to have those diplomatic talks, you need to, first of all, enforce the deal that we are currently in. And what I see happening, if Trump leaves the deal, we are shutting off any diplomatic options, so we can't actually resolve the remaining challenges that the U.S. and Iran and other parties in the region have.
Let me tell you about what Boris Johnson, the British foreign minister, tweeted, really the latest official supporting this agreement, and really saying what Netanyahu said made the case for preserving the deal. And we have the tweet up on the screen. Israeli Prime Minister's speech on Iran's past nuclear weapons research shows why we need Iran deal based on trust, but verification, allowing IAEA org, unprecedented access, need to keep deal and build on it to take account of U.S. allies and its concerns. So, will this administration listen to what Merkel had to say, to what Macron had to say, what the United States' closest allies is pushing for, and what is going to happen, Jamal, in your opinion? Is this administration going to pull out of this agreement before May 12th?
I think all signs are that the administration is going to pull out. They are not listening to the allies you mentioned. They are listening to Netanyahu and bin Salman of Saudi Arabia. And I think what that means is that the United States is now deciding that diplomacy is not the path forward. Confrontation, military confrontation, doubling down on some of the proxy wars in the region is likely the path ahead.
Does that mean the deal would essentially be dead at this point? Or can Iran still sustain some kind of agreement with other member nations?
I think it depends on what the other member nations are willing to do. And that means that Europe is going to need to stand up to the United States in order to not have the sanctions be reimposed. Right now, it does not look promising that Europe is willing to do that, given some of the compromises that were made last week in Washington by Macron, by Merkel.
Complicated story, a lot at stake. Jamal Abdi, thank you so much.